There are 5 signs that you're about to marry an avoidant man. These signs show up well before the wedding, but most women do not know what the signs even mean. So you could be in one of these relationships right now and be misunderstanding the man that you're with. Most women miss these signs because they often look normal during an engagement. He's stressed. The wedding's expensive. There are families involved, sometimes complicated ones. There's decisions to make, and the pressure is coming from every direction. So when he gets tense about money or distant in the evenings or impossible to reach emotionally, the simplest explanation is that he's under pressure. But that pressure reveals the structure running underneath the relationship. Whether you're weeks from a wedding, years into living together, or somewhere in between, the same things eventually get tested. How he handles money, how he lets you into his family, whether he can talk about fear and doubt and disagreement or not. The wedding just compresses that timeline and forces you to have it. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist with 16 years of training and experience in psychology and relationships. Today, I'm going to show you all 5 signs, including the one that most women miss because it sounds romantic when he says it at first. The point of this video is not to convince you not to marry a good man, whether he's avoidant or not. I'm going to show you what you might be missing about the man that you love and what that reveals about the missed opportunities you could be sharing, and ultimately how that could affect the family you're hoping to build together. Without this information, you both could be missing out on the greater connection that could open up a future of exciting opportunities for you to share. The best news is that the work that fixes these issues is the same work that builds a strong marriage. These signs show you what the two of you have not built yet. And once you have that information, you can intentionally build a successful relationship with a man you finally understand. Really quick so that we're on the same page. An avoidant man in this context is a man with a lone wolf survivor mentality. He has something called avoidant attachment style, which doesn't make him avoid commitment or avoid conversations. It means that he tends to withdraw more than he fights, especially in romantic, intimate relationships. They're usually exceptional in work, very risk-focused, and most of all, tend to stay out of deeper commitments if those deeper commitments don't make sense to them. I think most of us agree that that's probably a smart move. The problem is that romantic connection itself doesn't really make sense to them because they're not able to biochemically receive it the way that a more securely attached person can. We'll talk about that in another video. I've talked about that a lot. Today, I want to talk specifically about the signs that you're marrying a man who probably has avoidant tendencies. First, here's the 3 signs you need to look for up front, followed by the last 2 that are even bigger. Stay tuned for those. But these first 3 signs, they talk about who he is, how he handles his family, and how he sees the life the two of you are supposed to be building. Sign number 1 is that you have never gotten a real answer about what he actually wants from his life. You've probably asked him 100 times what he personally wants out of life. And if he gives you an answer, it's probably been an intellectual TED Talk, opinions about ideas, philosophy, about the world, about what's wrong with other people, right? He genuinely probably cannot tell you what he wants for himself personally. Financial independence. Great. To run a company. Okay. What about the closeness, the intimacy, the meaning, the purpose? That's where he's intellectual instead of personal. After 2 years of dating, you probably don't know his innermost desires or his personal goals, apart from career and financial independence. Sign number 2, he turns you into a houseplant in his life. I know it sounds romantic when he initially describes the life that you're going to have together. That's why this one gets missed. Listen when he describes the future. He talks about a life that has you in it as a passive entity, not a life that he's building in collaboration with you. We will live in this house. We will have this many children. You will be nearby raising them while I work and I do these things, right? He moves in his life and you sit still. You are placed inside his life, maybe doing a couple tasks, but mostly there. And he will occasionally return to water you. You're not partnered alongside him. Now, there's an internal lie happening for most women that tells them, just dismiss this. It's not a big deal. It's, I will love him so much that he will feel safe like I do, and then he'll finally understand and accept my love. This is wrong. Love does not change this pattern. Only attachment work with corrective conversations and experiences changes this pattern. The problem isn't that you don't love him or don't love him enough. The problem is that his system is designed to biochemically block the experience of that love and to hyperfixate into surviving instead of thriving. And certainly he doesn't know how to build that connection with another human, especially a problem-solving partnership. Everything is a solo experience for him. Sign number 3, you've probably never had a real conversation with anyone in his family. You've never had a personal, substantial, emotionally regulated conversation with, for example, his mother. You probably never spent time with his brother to get to know each other one-on-one. I bet that he carefully manages who you talk to and what they know about him and what you find out from them. Specifically, he prevents alliances from forming against him. And if he needs to balance carefully managed truth, he makes sure nobody can put all the pieces together. That doesn't mean he lives in a web of lies necessarily. It means no one has all the pieces, so no one can put them together and attack him. When he talks to you about any personal context, anything in your romantic relationship, he says, swear to absolute secrecy. Never bring any of this up to my family ever. What he's protecting is that nobody in his life can ever put the picture together to attack him for it. Not that he has some dark, terrible secret, but again, in childhood, being known and visible by others got him criticized, attacked, whatever it was, punished perhaps. So he's preventing that in adulthood. If you do meet his mother, watch her. If she's overwhelmingly anxious and she leans on him constantly for emotional stability, his attention is probably already spoken for. Now, those first 3 signs are the foundation for the relationship and how he views you. Either he sees you as a person to stand beside him and understand him, or he sees you as something to be managed going forward as he works alone. The last 2 signs are about money specifically. Money is very special in avoidant cases because in a world without love, cash is the only source of safety. It's not that avoidant people are greedy. That's not really it. It's not the love of money. It's that money doesn't betray you. Money doesn't have feelings. Money sits where you put it and does what you need and brings freedom when you need it. How he uses money reveals how he feels about the people around him. Both of these signs are visible during the engagement as well, by the way, and both tell you what kind of partner he plans to be. Sign number 4, he is petrified of your access to his money, even if it's joint money. The closer the wedding gets, the more agitated he becomes about money and access to it. The less willing he is to have an open conversation about that money. What he wants is one main account he controls, maybe his own account that he completely controls, and another account with an allowance that he sends to you each month. He might not have phrased it exactly that way, and he likely won't because that's too blunt and he knows that, but watch what he proposes. I need control, not to take from you or control you, but to control safety. And you can be over there, and I will always make sure you have enough. Sign of an avoidant man. And sign number 5, his prenup tells you who he's decided he's going to be in this marriage and after. Listen, I'm an amazing advocate for prenups. I love them. A good prenup done correctly should protect both people. Even advocate for both people. It's a framework for how to conduct yourselves. It's a framework to show you why you shouldn't screw it up. And if you do, it's a framework that you agreed upon so both people can still be safe. That's a proper prenup. If his prenup is brutal, if it protects him completely and carves you up if things end, if he's pushy to get it signed fast so that he feels safe right now, if he does not want you talking to your lawyer about it, if that would feel like a threat to him, there are serious problems here. A prenup written or signed that way tells you more about how he feels about you, marriage, partnership, family, and trust more than anything else he's ever said in the last 2 years. I'll just say this. If a prenup feels like a gun to your head, be aware that you're with a man who's comfortable putting a gun to your head so that he feels safe. Now, if you recognize your partner in 3 or more of those signs, the good news is that you're seeing them now. That doesn't mean you need to leave. You need to do something very specific. These signs usually look like normal engagement stress to many people, which is why they get missed. Now that you can see them, you can do something about them. The work starts with one conversation and not tackling all 5 signs all at once. That never really works. You have to bring the one thing most affecting both of you right now as a calm conversation, not an interrogation. Before I show you what one of my clients did about this in a real story, I want to tell you about something that I've been building that could help both of you. The Secure Circle is the free attachment community that I've built for people working through a lot of these issues that you just heard about. Inside this free community, you get to sit in on monthly masterclasses with me, watch my coaches break down what they're seeing in their own coaching sessions and what they're doing about it, drop in for live streams and Q&As, and pull from a resource library that gets bigger and bigger every month. The link for that group is in the description. And again, it's free to join. And if you want to go deeper than that, the Secure Circle Plus is the same link. My top courses are included, plus weekly live masterclasses across 6 areas of attachment work: becoming secure yourself, finding and rebuilding with a secure partner, building a marriage that lasts, raising kids who grow up secure, building a legacy that outlives you, and if you're a faith believer, integrating secure attachment with your faith. My coaches also run weekly practicums where they demonstrate the skills on camera, plus direct access to my coaching team. And if you've already known for a while that something needs to change and you do not want to wait, or if you're looking for premarital coaching on resolving these issues and making sure you're an effective team, my team and I are taking applications for one-on-one or couples coaching. The link is also in the description. Now let's talk about the conversation my client had with her avoidant man just before their wedding. I had one client come to me and say, Adam, I'm getting a lot of concerned feelings about my relationship with my avoidant partner. I don't really know what he's doing, but there's this brutal prenup on the table. It feels, like she said, like a gun to my head. When I read it, it undoes everything he's ever told me. It looks like he's going to leave me and even our children on the street with nothing, like not even pennies in the account afterward. If he ever gets bored of me, I'm gone and I have no security. But in our lives, he's one of the kindest people I know. Maybe not emotionally involved, but kind and gentle. I don't understand how to talk to him about this because whenever I bring it up, he gets spiky and upset and says I'm threatening him and wonders what I'm doing. He threatens to call a lawyer. What do I do? I told her what I said in a lot of the beginning of this video. The problem is probably not that he hates you or doesn't love you. The issue is safety, and he doesn't know how to craft that with someone because he's never been allowed to do that. Instead, try sitting down with him and understanding where those pieces are come from. Approach it instead of with anger or upset, with curiosity. I'd like to understand where these pieces are coming from. I'd like to understand your perspective. I see this, and to me, you're a smart man. So if you see these pieces and you're putting these in here, you must believe they're important to have. Can you help me understand why? Because from my position, they look very confusing. When she brought it to him that way, he listened. He said yes. They sat down and he slowly, haltingly, in very difficult language, explained all the way around, I don't feel safe, and this is the only way I know to protect, in his eyes, not only me, but also our family. It was interesting because he was actually trying to protect her too in his head with this framework that looked like absolute destruction. When they had that conversation, she was able to clarify with him that it felt so deeply unsafe to her that it would not make sense to sign it. And because she approached it compassionately and thoughtfully, he was able to see her side too. They didn't just overhaul the prenup, they overhauled the way that they talked to each other about concerns. That opened the door for everything else. Now let's help you map out this conversation as well, because if you're in this dynamic, you're watching this video, you need to know what to say. Here's the conversation. First, I'm going to say this, you need to schedule it. Do not ambush him with this as he's about to fall asleep at night. He's eating a sandwich. He's running between his office to try to get up to meetings or something. Don't ambush him with this conversation. Pick a quiet evening on the couch when you're both expecting to talk, especially not right after or during a fight or right after sex. Schedule it, sit down, and then do this. Open with what's at stake. This is executive language, a calm tone, eye contact, provide context without flooding, and then curiosity, asking questions. Tell him, I am here to build a life with you as your partner. I cannot spend the next 30 years guessing what you want. That's not efficient for either of us. We will be going in the wrong direction. I need to know whether the two of us are building toward the same thing or not. The next step is to name exactly what you need from him. You might say, I need a deep personal understanding of what you're looking for in life and why. I need to have a real relationship with your family and why. I need to have a real conversation about money so we both feel settled without any concerns, like two adults building a future together. I'm willing to do the work with you, and I believe you can do it too. Can we handle this together? And that's the last piece, is closing with a question. Will you do this with me starting now? In fact, Don't even answer me right now. Come back in 7 days, give it some thought, and then let me know. An invite, not on the spot, an invite. Then you go quiet. You don't over-explain. You don't soften it. You don't beg. You don't sit there for 3 hours telling him how you feel. That level of executive conversation. Now, after you ask this, over the next 7 days, in his body, in his behaviors, as he comes back and tells you what has happened, right? That will tell you what he's choosing. If he comes back with a real conversation within 7 days, listening, thoughtful, curious, sharing with you, giving context, seeing your perspective, collaborating to build a mutually beneficial relationship, amazing. You have a partner. Whether he's avoidant or not, he actually cares about you. But if he goes silent, and passes the 7 days pretending it didn't happen, if he gets agitated and angry, if he tries to manage you out of asking again, you also have your answer. Either way, you will no longer be guessing about the man you're about to marry. Now, the reason this conversation works is that for the first time, both of you are building toward the same thing on purpose. You stop being placed inside a life that he designed alone while you were nearby as a houseplant. And he stops carrying it all alone. Most couples who do this in time say the same thing on the other side of it. That conversation was the hardest part, but everything got so much easier afterward. You will know it's working when his answers stop being intellectual TED Talks and they start being his own personal expression. When his family stops being managed over there and you're managed over here, and instead that family starts being part of your life. When money becomes a joint plan instead of a fight or a secret arrangement. Now, if you want some help walking through this process, the Secure Circle is that free community that I've been building. Inside, you get those monthly masterclasses with me. My coaching team runs Q&As and live streams, and there's a library that grows ever more as I cover more of what shows up in coaching practice. The link for that group's in the description, and again, fully free. The Secure Circle Plus is the same link, and if you want to go deeper, that's the place to do it. My top courses are included, plus weekly masterclasses, weekly practicums where my coaches demonstrate skills right there on camera, and direct access to my coaching team. And if you want help getting married with confidence in premarital coaching or even postmarital coaching, if you want that assistance directly, my coaching team is taking applications right now. The link's down in the description as well. Drop a comment with any questions that you have. I'd love to read those and respond to them. And subscribe to this channel so you get notified when I post my next video. Share this video as well with a friend that you might be worried about who they're marrying. And then next, watch When Love Turns Deadly: The Truth About Disorganized Attachment in Relationships. I'll link it right here.